The clock is ticking as rail workers could hit the picket lines in just over a week. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg told NewsNation's Leland Vittert a potential rail strike is not acceptable.
We're urging the parties to get to the table and to do whatever it takes to prevent a shutdown.
Railroads haul about 40% of the nation's freight, and the ripple effects of a strike could be massive, particularly for farmers. Joining me now to talk more about this is Josh Linville, Vice President of Fertilizer for StoneX Financial. Thank you for joining us.
All right, thanks for having me on.
Now, Josh, we're going to talk about rail traffic, but first I want to talk about river traffic. A drought has caused a major cutback in shipments on the Mississippi River, and that is making a lot of farmers even more dependent on rail. Can you tell us about the connection between the drought on the Mississippi and rail traffic?
Yeah, absolutely. The Mississippi River is something we've been fighting here for several weeks, a couple months now. It's a major drought across most of the Midwest. Most of the tributaries that flow into the Mississippi River have caused those water levels to go down to near record, if not record levels. And while the barge crews, the Coast Guard, and everybody has done a phenomenal job of dredging the rivers, making sure they can continue to float boats, the efficiency has been down tremendously. We're not able to move nearly as much per day. So that's put more of that freight pressure on the rail system, which is already limited on what can be done per day as well. That's a system that's already being maxed out. So now all of a sudden we've got an issue with river system, which is an artery to our transportation system throughout the Midwest. And now we're threatening a rail strike where we could lose that arm. It's a devastating 1-2 combination that if it happens, it's going to be very difficult to come back from.
Well, but the thing is, even if there's suddenly plentiful rains in the Mississippi River Valley and that river starts flowing and is up at capacity again, it's not like we'll be fine now if the railroads go on strike. You will still be in serious trouble if the railroads go on strike, even if the Mississippi gets up to its highest levels.
Absolutely. If we're dealing with a river situation that has no problems today, a rail strike is still going to be tremendously devastating to our agricultural system. You think about the grains that need to move. We're finishing up harvest of 22. So now all of a sudden we need to move these grains south. We need to move them internationally. Without rail, we can't do that. We talk about fertilizer. We need to move that product north into the system in order to be able to put that on the field, in order to be able to raise the crops next year. We're losing time that is a very, very precious commodity. It's something we cannot lose.
So what is the best case scenario for what lawmakers can do to fix this situation? Because you would like the rail companies and the workers to sort of get together and have a deal themselves, but there is the potential that Congress could step in and just say, we're going to end this because the nation can't handle it. What would the ideal solution to this be if it comes to Congress stepping in?
If Congress has to step in, I think it's important to say the most optimal scenario going forward is if the rail workers and the railroads come together and come to terms, so that this isn't something we continue to kick the can down the road. That both sides are happy with negotiations and moving forward. Unfortunately, if DC starts to get involved, it's going to be a situation where probably neither side of that negotiation table is happy with it, but they could be forced to press forward. And then we got to start watching and seeing, okay, are we going to see some sort of a revenge from either side of that negotiation table? Is either side going to be happy with it and be actually willing to go back to work? The last thing in our viewpoint is that DC needs to get involved. We would love to see these two parties come together, come to terms themselves, but we also know that's maybe not a situation we can count on.
This might not be something you can really comment on, but does StoneX have a position, or do you have a position on what's either side being more reasonable here as far as the railroad companies and the folks that work for them?
So I've got friends that work for the railroad, actual railroad workers. And of course, I see it from the rail side of the negotiation table. That's something we try and do, is put ourselves into the shoes of both sides. And there's a case to be made for either side. As far as which side is right and which side is wrong, that's not something I'm willing to do, because I don't have skin in the game. I don't have, I don't work for the railroad. I don't have, obviously don't have ownership in the railroad. So that's something we'll leave to the people smarter than us.
That's Josh Linville. He's VP of Fertilizer for StoneX Financial, and he's caught in the middle, as he just said, and so might all of us be caught in the middle if this rail strike happens. Josh, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider, and don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.